Emlem Tunnell lifestyle and net worth. Emlen Louis Tunnell, born on March 29, 1924 to July 23, 1975, sometimes known by the nickname The Gremlin, was an American professional football player and coach. He was the first African American to play for the New York Giants and also the first to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Born and raised in the Philadelphia area, Tunnell played college football at the University of Toledo in 1942 and University of Iowa in 1946 and 1947. He also served in the United States Coast Guard from 1943 to 1946. He received the Silver Life-Saving Medal for heroism in rescuing a shipmate from flames during a torpedo attack in 1944 and rescuing another shipmate who fell into the sea in 1946. He next played 14 seasons in the National Football League, NFL, as a defensive halfback and safety for the New York Giants, 1948 to 1958, and Green Bay Packers, 1959 to 1961. He was selected as a first-team All-Pro 6 times and played in 9 Pro Bowls. He was a member of NFL championship teams in 1956 and 1961. When he retired as a player, he held NFL career records for interceptions, interception return yards, 1,282, punt returns, 258, and punt return yards, 2,209. He had net worth of approximately $5 million at the time of his death. He was 6 feet 1 inches tall, which is equivalent to 1.8 meters tall. Having said that, let's touch down. Emlem Tunnell early life. Tunnell was born in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, though sources conflict as to his year of birth. His tombstone as well as the Social Security Death Index and Tunnell's Department of Veterans Affairs BIRLS death file reflect a birth date of March 29, 1924. Official NFL records and multiple sources in the early 1960s reported his date of birth as March 29, 1922. Tunnell listed his birth date as March 29, 1923, on his 1942 draft card and on his 1950 application for World War II benefits. Other sources record his birth year as 1925. In 1961, Tunnell joked about his age, "I'm not really 41, as everyone says. I'm closer to 42." Tunnell grew up in the Garrett Hill neighborhood of Radnor Township, approximately 8 miles northwest of Philadelphia. His parents were divorced when Tunnell was young, and he and 3 siblings were raised by his mother, Catherine, who worked as a housekeeper in the homes of wealthy families in the Philadelphia Main Line area. His sister, Vivian, recalled Garrett Hill as a multi-ethnic neighborhood where everybody mingled, and her brother learned from his environment, be yourself, but adapt to others who might be different in the group. Tunnell attended Radnor High School where he was a star halfback in 1940 and 1941. Tunnell was included in the inaugural class of inductees to the Radnor High School Hall of Fame in 2003. Emlem Tunnell coaching and family. Tunnell was married in 1962 to Patricia Dawkins. They had no children. In the fall of 1962, Tunnell worked as a scout for the Giants and Packers, observing college players on Saturdays and watching the Giants' upcoming opponents on Sundays. In May 1963, he was hired by the Giants as a special assistant coach under head coach Ali Sherman. In addition to his scouting duties, he was responsible for special assignments during the Giants' training camp. In February 1965, Tunnell was promoted to assistant coach responsible for the Giants' defensive backs. While some sources credit Tunnell as the first African American to work as an assistant coach in the NFL, and even as the first black coach in the NFL, Fritz Pollard was a head coach in the NFL in the 1920s, and Lowell Perry was an assistant coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1957. Tunnell suffered a minor heart attack in October 1974 and thereafter assumed a new position as the Giants' assistant personnel director. In July 1975, Tunnell died from a heart attack during a Giants practice session at Pace University in Pleasantville, New York. Emlem Tunnell College and Military Service. Tunnell enrolled at the University of Toledo in the fall of 1942 and played college football as a halfback for Toledo Rockets football team. He was described as the mainspring of Toledo's offense in the first part of the 1942 season. However, on October 26, 1942, he sustained a broken neck in a game when he was blocked while attempting to make a tackle against Marshall. He recuperated sufficiently to help lead the Toledo Rockets men's basketball team to the finals of the 1943 National Invitation Tournament. Tunnell's neck injury in 1942 resulted in his being rejected in efforts to enlist in both the United States Army and Navy during World War II. In May 1943, Tunnell enlisted in the United States Coast Guard. From August 1943 to July 1944, he served on the USS Emlen, a cargo ship that was manned by Coast Guard personnel and stationed in the Southwest Pacific area. In April 1944, while unloading explosives and gasoline at Atape in Papua New Guinea, the Emlen was struck by a torpedo dropped from a Japanese airplane. Tunnell saved a fellow crew member who was set afire in the blast, beat out the flames with his hands, sustained burns to his own hands, and carried the shipmate to safety. He was next stationed at San Francisco and Alameda from August 1944 to October 1945. In the fall of 1944, Tunnell played at the halfback position for the San Francisco Coast Guard Pilots football team. On November 11, 1944, he led the Pilots to a 13-0 victory over Amos Alonzo Stagg's Pacific Tigers football team, throwing 22 yards for a touchdown and returning an interception 75 yards for another touchdown. At the end of the 1944 season, he was named to the All-Pacific Coast Service football team. He also played basketball for the San Francisco Coast Guard, scoring 13 points in a December 1944 game against the California Golden Bears. In March 1946, while stationed at Naval Station Argentia in Newfoundland, Tunnell rescued a shipmate who fell from the USS Tampa. Tunnell jumped into the 32-degree water and saved his drowning shipmate. In 2011, Tunnell was posthumously recognized by having the gymnasium on Coast Guard Island named in his honor and was awarded the Silver Life-Saving Medal for his heroism in rescuing his shipmate on the Tampa. On December 12, 2017, the Coast Guard announced that it planned to name its 45th Sentinel-class cutter the USCGC Emlem Tunnell. In 2021, the Coast Guard announced plans to name an athletic building on the Coast Guard Academy campus the Emlen Tunnell Strength and Conditioning. Tunnell was honorably discharged from the Coast Guard in April 1946. He enrolled at the University of Iowa in the fall of 1946. Playing for the 1946 Iowa football team, Tunnell led the team with 541 yards of total offense and 28 pass completions and ranked second on the team with 333 rushing yards. On October 11, 1947, he set an Iowa single-game record with 155 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns on 6 receptions. 3 weeks later, Tunnell quit the team after an argument with backfield coach Frank Caridio. He apologized and was reinstated 2 days later, but he played sparingly in the final 2 games of the 1947 season. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel.